Welcome, John. Good to see you again, as always.
Good to see you too. I love Dragon Ball. This is like my childhood we're getting into, and
Yeah.
maybe my teenage years as well. So it's a big deal for me.
I'll take a sip of my mud water here, which we're not sponsored by. But at some point, we'll do all those affiliate things. But for now, but no, Dragon Ball. So like, this is technically season 2, so we did peel off, and this is one thing I've noticed, like, because I watched season 2, and then I'm into the next arc, which is the Red Ribbon Army, which will be kind of like a bigger thing. But there is a pattern I'm noticing that Dragon Ball has a little bit. Like, yes, there's 7 Dragon Balls, but then they're using that in like a semi. There is like a hidden spirituality with the number 7 that happened each season. So like with Pilaf, like we kind of talked about before, like there was 7 of the Zodiacs showed up, out of, and then with this one, with the tournament that's here, there's 7 chakras essentially. Each fight represents a chakra, but also even before that, you have the training that happens. So this is kind of where this is at. Anyone that's like watching the show, just to take you into where we're at, this is like Dragon Ball. This is after the first Dragon Wish, and Goku goes off to train with Master Roshi. And so like that very first part of that where he's training with Master Roshi, the Turtle Hermit way, not the Turtle Hermit, the Turtle Hermit way. That very first one, you can almost view that as like the Earth Star Chakra, where it's like, it's not your root chakra, it's the one that attaches you to the earth. It's like the foundation of all things, that like makes you connected with the whole earth and makes you kind of part of everything. But it's like that root star Earth chakra. So the Earth Star Chakra is like down below us. It's like 6 inches below and is in the ground. And like, not that they talk about chakras directly, but I'm just like, that's the foundation. Because from there, when you get to the actual tournament, each fight kind of follows a chakra point. But that training is very core. And like, like it teaches you the importance of a routine, like how important it is to have a routine no matter what you're doing, what you're focused on. Like whether you have a 9-to-5 job or you're a martial artist or an entrepreneur, it's like having that routine is very important. And there's a balance in it. If you notice with the routine, it's working out and then it's peaceful. And but yeah, I don't know if you had anything you wanted to dive into with like the routine or the Turtle Hermit way.
What I liked was when it takes a long time for them to finally convince Roshi to actually train them, and when he does, I love that he says that when he describes martial arts, he says it's an ethical means to maintain peace in the universe. I loved that as a phrasing. It's not the one that was taught to me in martial arts as growing up, but it's a beautiful, all-encompassing interpretation for all the martial arts that I studied from for different parts of the world. They all have that basic concept idea where it's about maintaining balance, peace, harmony. There's a lot of different words that are tossed around for it, but it's never centrally just about amassing power or strength or skill. It's about that implementation of it must be in harmony with the world, the cosmos, with nature, and with mankind. The Turtle Hermit training, I feel that, especially when you watch everything that they put the Goku and Krillin through with it, they're developing extreme conditioning. Through extreme conditioning, they're developing balance, endurance, muscle, bone density. At one point, they're plowing a field with their bare hands in rows, which I've been out there in the garden just with trying to rip up weeds and trying to just move the soil around bare hand, and it is extremely painful. You'll injure yourself as soon as you hit a root or a rock. You could rip your nail up. At one point, Krillin even says, "I don't have any nails left.
I don't have any fingernails left." Like as soon as one ripped off.
Ooh, it's brutal.
It's brutal and tough, and it's sensitive down there. But also, like your fingers can still work fully fine without your fingernails. Like,
oh yeah, and it's not like mankind wasn't doing that before they forged all the metal tools. I mean, they were digging somehow, and eventually your fingers will, especially speaking from personal experience, you'll figure out how to do it. Eventually, you'll get really good at digging through that soil with your bare hand. But your hands do they hurt so much that eventually they go numb, which is its own blessing. Something I learned in the military too is once things go numb, you can keep going really far as long as you're doing it right and you're still being safe. You can push yourself so much further.
Yes. Well, I think that's the importance of like the routines here, as well as like the grind. Like when things go numb, that's actually when the grind hits. Like that's when people talk about grinding. It's like it's kind of become monotonous. Like in video games, we talk about like grinding for levels. Well, you're doing things that aren't exactly like, it's still fun, but you're not exploring new parts. You're doing things you've already done, and you're grinding, and it's kind of tedious. And same as the thing, like when you're grinding life, like that's when the grind happens. It's like when you become numb, when the muscles wear out, when like you're tired. Same as working out. Like, most workout sets, the average thing is like a warm-up set, and then you have 3 solid sets. Warm-up sets so you don't hurt yourself. And then the other 2 sets are to wear out your muscles. It's actually set 3 where you're building the muscles. That's when the muscles are beginning to tear. So it's like you have to take yourself to, let's rip, let's grind. And that's what's going on here. But that's also when you push. And that's why I think the importance of a routine or a why. Like their goal is to be trained under Master Roshi. It's after he agrees to train them that he brings up the tournament. And then even then he says the tournament's not to win. The tournament is part of your training.
Mm-hmm.
And then he points it out several times. And right before they go, he points it out again and again that the point is not to win. This is an introduction to martial arts. And that's also why he chooses to join the tournament himself too, is because he needs his students that are learning martial arts, that are on the beginning journey, to not get bored of it right away. They need a challenge. They need to make sure that someone can take them out, or else they will make it to the top. And spoilers. Hopefully you've already seen this whole season and so forth. But like Krillin and Goku both get taken out by Master Roshi in disguise. That's Jackie Chan.
Mm-hmm.
Like had they not, Goku and Krillin probably would have been the semifinals or the finalists. And then Goku would have probably won. And then at that point, Goku, what's the challenge for Goku? Like, why would he continue on martial arts? Why would he continue on, so forth? Why would he do any of that? And so Master Roshi is there, but you can take that to like the spiritual journey too, of like, you begin to learn spirituality and you begin to like dive down that. And you do hit a point where it's like, okay, everything is love. And like, I'm not trying to like downplay that in any way, but like there comes a moment where like you hear people say, everything is connected to love. We're all part of source. We're all unity. We're all expressions, experiencing ourselves, experiencing itself while observing itself. And then when you have that moment for your first time, when you yourself actually experience it, it's no longer knowledge that you've been told, you experience it. You have your first transcendental meditation, you have your first breakthrough, you have your first major life shift, you have a psychedelic experience or a breath work or something that takes you onto a transcendental journey.
Mm-hmm.
You connect with all of unity and love, and then you know it. And it's like, okay, but if you didn't, like if at that point, every other issue in your life got solved, if from that point on, it's like, oh, great, you felt ultimate unity and love. That also comes with $1 million and the career of your choosing with all the experience points, like the Matrix, is just going to get downloaded into you. And it's like, you now know Kung Fu. You now know how to run a $10 million business, or you now know how to be a professional rock star, like whatever your dream is, or, your passion. It's like, it's not like you feel ultimate love and then you get all the download. If that happened, the game would be over. And so it's like to be reminded of that and then come back. And so it's that thrill of the journey is what I've noticed. It's like during the battles, during the fights, Roshi wants them to lose. So one, they could keep improving because they're already above the average man at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But he wants them to keep improving, but also to continue the journey. And so, quote unquote, to continue to improve themselves because they've already felt ultimate love. Mm-hmm. And if they were to get ultimate love and then realize, oh, there's no challenge to get to this, then they can fall into narcissism and they can fall into that I am the Christ mentality, or I'm above you, and they can essentially become the disharmonic Hercule that we see later. Like Hercule is Hercule, but there's a disharmonic version. Like he could be way more douchey, he could be way more of an asshole, he could be way more prideful. You think he's prideful now? Like he's still a nice guy and is prideful. Yeah. Like throw an asshole in energy onto that, completely different character. Mm-hmm. Like and so he's not the disharmonic, but he's on that teeter, he's in that gray zone. And so I say that it's like that's who Goku could have became had he never had a challenge. Also, Goku probably would have died when King Piccolo comes, way foreshadowing there, but like had he not continued to improve, bad guy comes, you die.
It's been over.
Yeah.
And that's true. There's I love the tournament arc because Master Roshi perceives that if he also only trains them with just his style, they're never going to know what it's like to run into something completely different. And so other approaches to the path. And so by throwing them into the tournament, it's the same reason why I believe that my master in karate when I was about 12, he's like, all right, we're going to the first tournament. And I was like, we've only been doing this for a few months. What are you talking about? I was only a yellow belt. What am I doing in a tournament?
Yeah.
And so with all the other brown and purple belts and stuff. And it was the education. It wasn't. I only got one little fight against the other guy that was also kind of a new. We just kind of threw ourselves at each other. It was whatever. But then I got to see all the other belt ranks all go at it, including one dojo master against another dojo master, and that was phenomenal. Seeing just all the different approaches, even just between karate and karate, knowing that they both have regional differences, just not only in Japan but also around the world in the modern day. There's all kinds of differences, and that is such an education. After that, I was like, other martial arts. Walking away from that, I wanted to look at other martial arts. I wanted to study. I was past the favoritism of I picked this one, therefore it's superior. I was all about everything. Now study all of them now because they're so different. I watched one guy that I thought was going to be just this legend go up there, and he got destroyed because the other guy saw there was an opening in his technique where he could just kick him in the side of the thigh, right where that main nerve goes down the outside. And he got him there 3 or 4 times until the guy's his whole stance broke. So he switched his stance to the other side. And the guy's like, okay, same hole. Worked on his left leg until he collapsed and couldn't fight anymore. He won by default. Yeah. And watching that go down, I couldn't believe it. It was such technical. It was awesome. I was watching this. It was just like the cartoons, just like the animes, the movies, where because he saw something that I didn't see it until the guy next to me was like, this is why he's kicking him in the leg and why it's going through. And then it just opened my whole brain. Holy crap. It's just like the shows. You actually do get that moment, and why Jackie Chan has them in there so that they can learn that. Every one of the fights that they go through, there's something they never approach, some angle of fighting they've never seen before. And it throws them through a loop, and they figure it out and they learn how to deal with that whole angle permanently.
Definitely. Well, and you see it a little bit too, like when they interview Krillin and Goku together, they're matching, and that's kind of a hilarious thing. But they're like, "Oh, how are you feeling, Krillin, about your match against Jackie Chan coming up? Given his age, do you think it'll be an easy match for you?" And Krillin goes, "I haven't had an easy match yet, so I don't think so." And he's even including the preliminary rounds. Even when he was kicking ass and realized he's super powerful, he's still recognizing and respecting those he's already fought. So even the people that he poked and pushed over, even the people that used to make fun of him, that he kicks their asses in the preliminary round, he still goes, "I haven't had an easy fight yet." Because he's recognizing, one, for him emotionally and mentally, this hasn't been easy. And physically, there's been challenges, and he's gotten his butt kicked. He just fought Bacteria and got his ass kind of kicked, but he still won. He gets stomped on, gets set on,
And they're the only kids in the tournament, and so they're tiny. Everyone else is massive, and then the truly massive guys are just Titanic.
Yeah, they're just Titanic, and it's very much Toriyama's style that draws these massive characters and these abnormally tall guys. Because it's even the guy that Krillin first fights, the Goku first fights is I've set on bugs bigger than you. That guy is so massive that even other adults just come up to his belly button.
Yeah.
But it's to draw that thing they're so tiny and then they're powerful because they've done the training. And that's the thing too with Roshi's training. With Roshi's the whole Turtle Hermit way, they don't learn him martial arts because they came to him with their already skills.
Yes.
That's the thing about a true master, a true guru. Some teachers will teach you from ground zero and up. But generally, those first initiatorial paths of the general interest in it, the general drive to get it done, is they want you do that before you find a teacher. The teacher appears when the student is ready, but the student is ready when they've actually put interest in, they've actually put energy in. It's similar to even in some businesses, they want you to have a college degree, but they don't care what it's in. Because a college degree just shows you know how to problem solve and you know how to get things done by a deadline. And you know how to put in the time and the effort. We don't want to teach you any of that. We want you to know that, and then we teach you how to do our job. Roshi doesn't want to teach you how to punch, doesn't want to teach you how to run. He doesn't want to teach you determination. He wants to teach you skills, and he wants to improve upon your determination. So these aren't exact power levels, per se, but I was looking into, there's an encyclopedia that Toriyama created that has all the back facts about just random stuff. And so I was looking that up online, and he points out that Master Roshi, when they read Master Roshi's power level in Dragon Ball Z, he's 125 power level. Toriyama points out that Master Roshi is around a power level of 100 in most of Dragon Ball.
Okay.
And the reason that, and then so point that out, but then he points out that when we first meet Goku is at power level 11, and that the average power level 1 would be somebody, we've talked about a little bit before, Chuck Norris, so forth like that. In a random interview, just because I was just curious, I was just looking for random things that Toriyama says about power levels and compared to humans. In one random interview, he says that, he goes back and says, the power level 1 would be someone of the basic, 6 foot tall, chiseled chin. He's but someone like Bruce Lee or The Rock, they'd be a power level 2. They're kind of past the average man, but still in the limits of a normal man.
What's interesting caveat to that is when you get into Dragon Ball and Raditz scans that human farmer with the rifle, he scans him at 3. And he's just a fat farmer with a gun. that gun is clearly 2 of those 3
Two of those
points.
three. Yeah. Well, and then also the fat farmer, he's put in work. Like he
a
might
burly
be far.
man.
Yeah, he might be fat, but he's like strongman fat. Like he knows how to work on the field. He's not computer desk fat. He's not video gamer fat. So so he's average burly. But yeah, he gets 3. And yeah, the gun is part of that. But also at the same time, it's like okay, but that so like a guy like that would probably be power level 1. Someone that like is semi-active. And so Goku's at average power level 11, and then he says that after he trains with Master Roshi, so I wrote it down under that. Yeah, he's at power level 25. So he enters the tournament at power level 25. And the next time he references his power level, he says after Muscle Tower, which is in the Red Ribbon arc, he's at power level 35. Because he goes through these like little things that push him a little bit, and but he still has not had any Zenkais, but he does get pushed to exhaustion. And then, which is like training super hard. So it's like every fight he gets stronger. So throughout the entire tournament, Goku's getting stronger. Krillin's getting stronger. Yamcha's getting stronger. And that's why Master Roshi gets 125 when they scan him with the power things, because like he hasn't been training yet, but he's been in fights.
Yeah. He had to fight Goku when Goku went to Zaru. And so that's not only did he go through the whole tournament, but in there he actually powered up into the whole body muscle thing. And so, I remember when I first watched Dragon Ball, somebody pointed out to me, it's probably one of my cousins, that what made Roshi truly awesome was that he was the only human that we see other than Goku and Krillin, the only main character we see in that whole world that has already figured out how to raise and lower his power level. And that when you see him, he's the whole tournament arc, he's normal, powerful, normal power level. And then when he's like, oh, that's a giant monkey, he's destroying everything, I better take that out. He then goes up to max for the first time in the series. Yeah. And so if he didn't change his power level, technically his base power level, he just raised it to its actual max, then I think that only shows that he was suppressing, he was just kind of playing around the whole time. But when he did throw himself at his max at Goku in his Zaru form, that was, okay, real challenge time. No longer just training, but you're actually challenged for the first time in, for him, 40 years? Probably since the last time he trained Ox or Gohan.
Or Gohan, yeah, exactly. Well, and you see it's like, jumping ahead a little bit here, and like, so point out that like each round had like a chakra system, and just to point out with Master Roshi, like let's take him to like the Krillin, like when Jackie Chan fights Krillin, like I put that one as the throat chakra because they both get creative.
Oh yeah.
But also there's an expression of who they are. Like they get creative, and it's something to point out. Like with Krillin too, he doesn't have a nose for round 1, but then in the fight with Master Roshi, they have a little bacteria war when they're flying at each other, and Roshi says, then he snarled his nose at me and shot boogers at me. So then Krillin has a nose. And so this is one thing I want to point out is like, that's part of like why the first fight I gave, like the root chakra. So bacteria versus Krillin, the root chakra, it's all about survival. It's about who is stronger, who can beat the other person. But then also like hygiene has not been a big thing for bacteria, which is part of survival. So he's actually a little bit weaker. He's actually got a lower immune system, but because he always is dirty, but he also has a stronger immune system because he's always dirty. But Krillin actually like turns off his senses. He turns off his nose, which would be like master root chakra. That's one of his survival techniques. Turns it off. I mean, yes, Goku points out, you don't even have a nose. Like, you're right, I don't have a nose. But then his next battle, he's shooting boogers out of his nose. So like, it's that idea that Krillin actually has a mastery of the root chakra, where he can turn this off. And certain monks talk about this in, I should say gurus, but in biography of a yogi by Yogananda. That's what I was thinking. Biography of a yogi by Yogananda. He talks about one of the other gurus he runs into that can turn off his ears and they can turn off his sight. Whatever sense he turns off, the other ones maximize. So he shows Yogananda, he turns off like 3 of them, and then he tells him he can like smell 3 houses down the bread being made, and tells Yogananda to go knock on the door and bring jam to them and say, can I give you some jam for some bread? And they knock on the door and they go, we just pulled this out of the oven. And it's like he could smell 3 houses down. So it's that mastery of the root chakra. And so Krillin has there, but then in the third eye, or in the throat chakra with Master Roshi, he brings the nose back. But he also throws the panties on the ground, and then they do like little, rock paper scissors. They get creative, they fight. But he causes Master Roshi to pull out strength. He kicks him off stage. Master Roshi's flying away, as Jackie Chan, or Jackie
Chun.
Jackie Chung. I was like, not Jackie Chan. That's the play on it.
Yeah.
Jackie Chung. Which you also in the preliminary rounds you see a character that looks like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
And you see a guy that looks like Superman.
They do they put a lot of those cool little reference jokes in there.
Yeah.
At one point, Yamcha, Wolfang Fix fights an actual wolf.
Yeah. Wolfang Fist fights an actual wolf. Yeah. But no. So what's going on with that? He makes him vault the Kamehameha to get back on the stage. Pulls out his creativity, and so like he's suppressing just to beat them, but it's like, oh well, now I have to do this, and then there's another time he goes, well, I guess I'll have to actually hit him. So when he karate chops him and actually puts him down for the final time, like he hits him in the back of he hits him on the shoulder over here, and then he hits him in the front of the throat. So he hits the throat chakra and hits him on like the shoulder, just like that Vulcan death grip, or whatever. Like you see a karate chop there, like that is a pressure point that makes the spine collapse. But I don't know if you've ever been throat punched before. Oof. Like it fucking hurts.
Yeah.
And it's also one of those things where like, there's a funny meme out there that I find it funny, but it shows like brass knuckles, but they have amethyst stones on it, all spiked up, and it says for that mother effer that needs their throat chakra realigned.
Yes.
And it just cracks me up. But it's like, yeah. So Krillin goes down, but it's like he pushed Master Roshi to not use his full power, but to use more than he planned. And then to get serious enough that he had to put him down. Unlike when he fought Yamcha, which I put as the third eye, but that's all intuition. But we'll get into that in a moment. But yeah, I just thought it was interesting. Like, no nose, has a nose, pushes the creativity out, and he's the first one to kind of push Roshi to start to pull his strength out. As he should. He is his student.
Something about Krillin to point out too is when he first shows up, I mean, they don't show it as much. It becomes very faded, but he does have the tattoos.
Yeah, he has the dots, the burns.
Yeah, and those are ancient Shaolin order in China. That's a symbol of the eightfold path. And their vows to follow that path above that of the human, the world, and all of the temptations there. And so that symbolizes Krillin has had training. He's had some like top level spiritual training too. So he's already got all of this stuff under his belt, and now he's going to seek training from an ultimate master who's apparently earned immortality. Yes. So he's going what he sees as above and beyond the current system of mastery for something even greater than that. And so on the one hand, that's a lot of hubris to say, I can go and find something better, and to abandon your own schooling for something that you think is greater, and then to presume you're worthy of that. But then it's funny that he finds him. It's true. The Turtle Hermit is amazing. But what are the tests to be worthy of the Turtle Hermit? They're garbage. They're not worthy at all. And so it checks that ego. It checks that image he had of what is this great master going to be like. And he even says afterwards, like, you're not the kind of guy I thought you were. This guy does not have like the kind of respect I thought I'd give him.
But he also shows up with the dirty magazines knowing that it might work.
And of course, and he gives him one, but then he hides the others. But then the master understands that way. He's like, I think you're holding out on me. Oh, yeah. Oh, sure. I only think you needed the one. Reveals that, he's just as bad. So technically, he's found the right master for him because they have the same flaws. Then he shows in his ability to fight. He also has those same virtues too, that he's an extremely good fighter. He has a very good heart, and he's not after strength for its own sake, but to be able to defend himself and to uphold his principles.
Yes.
And you see that when he's up against those other Shaolin monks from his own order that start to bully him, is they've got the size, they've got the power, they've got the training, they've got the rank, but they have none of the self-discipline. They have none of that inner goodness that he has cultivated. And then when he finally fights one of them, they move so slow compared to them, they almost aren't moving. And when he thinks these guys are so good, I better give it my all, he just destroys the guy. Yeah. And like he sends him through the ring, out through the wall, out through the courtyard to the outside street.
Yes.
And everyone's like, what the heck was that? And it's because he thought he had to throw it all against this guy. Didn't realize because of his training and because he had actually put his heart into it, that he had gone so much further than that guy in just the small amount of time he'd been with Roshi.
Yes. When Goku had to help him see that too, the first Goku tells him, maybe let's not use all of our power. Because Goku accidentally pushes the guy out of the ring by tapping him in the back of the knee. With his amount of strength, that's like getting kicked in the back of the knee. So you go forward, you fall down. You get swiped in the back of the knee like that. And so he realizes that. And so first he tells Krillin not to, but then he sees how these guys treat Krillin, which also at the same time, it's like, obviously both of them aren't following the Eightfold Path. Like, and also one thing to point out, like I could be wrong on this, and if I'm wrong, I apologize to, the fans out there, but Krillin only has 6 dots, and so do they. And I could be wrong on this, but I think it's like you actually get the 8 dots when you hit the master rank, or you're actually, like you've shown to the master you're living all 8 paths. I think I could be wrong on that. I remember looking into that because I remember the dots, but then Krillin only has 6, and so do those guys. So they're not quite obtained to the highest thing. And in my research and like into that encyclopedia of those that can ride the Nimbus cloud, so Goku can, Chi-Chi can, technically the Ox King can too. Even though he was being vicious to people and wasn't always a good person, he was being authentic to what he thought was right. And so that's what he doesn't use the word authentic. It says pure of heart means true to your heart.
Yes.
And so, and because then in an interview I went and found later because I was just curious. I was like, well, what does Toriyama say about this in an interview? And you put in Toriyama interview about Nimbus Cloud, and you find some videos in there. Someone asks him at one of the Comic-Cons if Vegeta could ride the Nimbus Cloud, and he says yes, because Vegeta is true to his heart, just like he's a pure-hearted Saiyan, because he's the pure-hearted pride of Saiyan. So that's why, and also being a pure heart to become a Super Saiyan was part of the legend. It just happened that the first one was. But also S cells, the way you get S cells to become Super Saiyan is by training enormously hard or being around good-hearted people. So Goku, as soon as he's with Gohan, he's building S cells. And then by Gohan, his son, Goku's son, and then Goten, by being born as half-blood, half-Earthlings, Earthlings actually have S cells because they live good lives, and the morale is in them. And so they build S cells faster. That's why Goten and Trunks go Super Saiyan like this. And that's why Vegeta has to train so hard, because he hasn't had any good. So his S cells are training only, and Goku's are half and half.
Yeah, he doesn't. Because by the time he's living on Earth full time and interacting with everybody else, it's after Super Saiyan. He's already got it. And he's like, this is my home now.
Yeah, well,
he goes Super Saiyan when he's on his space journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and at that point, he has had a child. Like, it's not clear if he went Super Saiyan before Trunks was born or after Trunks was born, but it's clear that he went Super Saiyan after he consummated with Bulma, because then he leaves and then comes back
if
after
I remember
Trunks was
right.
born.
Yeah, if I remember right, the birth isn't happening on screen. That is all off screen. He comes back and she's already got him, and there's no like, this is your kid. It's like it's presumed, and everyone's just kind of like the conversation already happened.
Like the conversation already happened. Like it's almost like he left when she was pregnant, possibly. And like maybe you're not agreed upon, because she's not mad when he shows back up. She's not like,
that's true. There's a where have you been? Don't you know this is yours? Nothing.
None of that. Like Dragon Ball Abridged, they make a joke about it where it's like, aren't you kind of like a single mom? Yeah, I'm rich. That's hardly the same thing, boys. Like they make a joke about it, but like they don't say anything in the actual series about it. But she points it out, I was like, it's true. Like she can have a boy that runs around and does whatever, because
yeah.
Jeez.
That's so Western wealthy too. Just like the wealthy heiress that's basically got 20 servants and 3 servant mothers, so that she doesn't have to.
She's like, I'll raise a kid myself, and that's fine. And but he can go play off in space if he wants. So the SL thing, that's kind of coming in there. But to pull it back into Dragon Ball, back into where we are here. There was a route I was going, but we'll just kind of come back into the fights. So one of my characters that I really like that plays a significant role is Nam, who is the Indian, the true Indian,
the Indian,
the real Indian. I say it because we run into Native Americans later in Dragon Ball, and I guess actually Dragon Ball does a very good job. They don't call them Indians ever, either one of them. They actually never point out race ever. They point out species, but they never point out race, which I think is really cool.
That's true.
Yeah.
I do like that. I sort of like, because I remember just watching through when they show, at every point I was like, are they going to mention who they are, where they're from, anything? And no, it's just, this is this character, this is his name, and they don't really even like, he's from the fighting style of da 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 from this country. They don't go anywhere. It's just, this is who it is, and he sticks very much into the person's identity is what they are doing and nothing else.
Yeah, exactly. And he goes, this is Nam from a Baja Pueblo, a small village.
From a small village.
From a small village.
Yep.
Sorry. Little Spanish slipped out of Baja. Pueblo means little city. Sorry. I saw your eyes. Just like, what did I just do? What did I say weird? I was like, oh, okay. But in English, small village. But that's all he says. And then they just hint at, and then whenever he I must remember my friends, he has the accent, and he goes like this, and then Buddhas appear on either side of him, and so it's really cool. But his fight with Rafan, I think that's the girl's name with the purple hair, it's the sacral chakra. And one has the harmonic version of the sacral, and the other one has the disharmonic. So to point out the Nimbus cloud thing real fast, that's where I was going first. The only thing I want to point out with that was that the pure of heart thing is that the reason Krillin can't ride Nimbus isn't because he held the magazines, because he admits that he's dirty, and he admits that he likes girls, but it's not that sexuality is bad, it's the fact that he actually left the temple. He ran away from his commitment. He broke his vows. So he's not pure of heart because he's not being true to himself.
That's true.
Roshi can't do it because of the girl thing, but he's also treating it like being a pervy and being sneaky about it.
He's not. Yeah, he's not in your face. Being like, yo, I like women.
Yeah, like Krillin never does anything pervy.
That's right. He can't even walk up to the one mermaid girl and say, "Hey, come walk with me." He sends Goku to talk to her because he can't even do that.
Yeah.
So he's not authentic to himself, even as a lecherous man.
And then even Bulma, who he's comfortable with, first time he sees her in the tournament, he goes, "Remember last time I saw you? You were in that Slim Bunny outfit. Remember?" Like as if like she doesn't remember like being in it, but like, you know, why don't you go put that back on? And he buys her a shirt later. Oh, why don't you put on that form-fitting shirt? You know, he's very like dirty about it, and that's why he gets reduced to dirty because he's pervy about it.
Pervy and deceptive too.
We're like we talk about like with Oolong, who's authentic about it, calls it out, points it out, has the moral dilemma in his mind. Krillin, points out he likes dirty magazines, but you never see Krillin do anything pervy towards a girl. You know, he points out when Master Roshi is, but you never see Krillin like, you know, doing the weird boob thing or stroking up some girl's skirt or anything like that. Krillin never does anything like that. He's always very respectful. Even when he has the girl later, Marin, that like, you know, that like doesn't exactly hooking up with him in any way. Like he's still very respectful of her. And so that's the thing, is like that's not what makes Krillin pure-hearted. It's the fact that he left the Eightfold Path. He ran from his duty. He broke his vows.
That's true. He jumped from one path to the other.
Path.
Yeah.
And then so now tying it back with Nom, that, you know, Nom has, and you see this, Nom gets to ride the Flying Nimbus with Goku.
Nom. Yep.
Yeah. No, I think I'm saying his name. It is Nom, right? It's Nom, because I remember it was similar to Nom, like the bread you get at like a Himalayan restaurant, but it's Nom, like it's like a little off of that, like somewhere to the country.
Yeah.
So Nom, but like he is driven by emotions for his family, but it's also the harmonic version. He's very emotional. Like his whole purpose to win these battles is to get water, to get money, and to save his village. And so he's very emotional. So he's driven by his emotions in this fight, where Rafon uses her sexuality toxically. She's using toxic sexuality to win. She can fight decently. You know, she can throw a punch, she can throw a kick, you know, but she's using that toxic. It's obviously how she got to the preliminaries, as being a girl, playing the cute deception.
She's understood at this point how the sheer percentage of these male fighters just are not experienced with women at all, especially in that realm, which is really true. Even to this day, you look at most of the martial artists going into teenage to adulthood, a lot of them are either nerds who are just like, I'm trying to do this because I think it's cool, or my mom put me in this to defend myself or something like that, or they're just kids. Or you have the occasional Muay Thai fighter jock who's like really into the performance, really, and that's just their jock thing and it's their bodybuilding thing. And that one I found is a lot more rare because it's just, I mean, how many high schools have a Muay Thai program? They all have weightlifting, they all have football, but that one's a little bit more niche. But every so often you run into one, and you see those types in that martial arts tournament. You see martial arts that seem to have their discipline together, but still have no experience with women, much less sexuality. Then you have the ones that are like hardcore jock, pump iron, Muay Thai fighter. This guy's nothing but muscles. Also, no experience with women.
Because they're into their zone. They're driven into their niche. They're so focused. You know, as even like we do with Gumja, he's so shy of women, but can like fight and like, you know. But even then, like most of them, you know, I don't think it's until the second tournament you see somebody that has like women like cheering for him, and even then he's an actor that like, you know, got into boxing or something like that. You know, and
celebrity boxing.
And you actually see like it's one thing I like about like Dragon Ball makes its sexual jokes in there, but interestingly, like whenever you run into someone with power, like you run into Emperor Pilaf, he doesn't have girls hanging all over him. You run into Commander Red, doesn't have girls all hanging over him. King Piccolo shows up, and like one girl tries to seduce him, he wants nothing to do with it. Like one, he doesn't have the parts for it, you know, and like that's not his race anyways. He doesn't have females, but there's still this idea that when the powerful person appears, they don't have a bunch of like concubines. Same with Frieza. Frieza doesn't have a bunch of concubines laying around. That's
true. They have it's almost like even though they're the villain, they're evil, they have a lot of their personal things completely in balance and already figured out.
Like they're very focused. Like they know what they want and how to get it. Like Pilaf's the only one we see that doesn't know what he wants. Every other villain after that, they have a clear purpose and desire, and they're trying to get something. I guess I shouldn't say that because like Tien shows up and he's not quite a villain, but he's from the other school, and he's an opposing force, but he's not a villain. He's not a villain, but yeah, so coming back to this, like, and even in this, like you have Nam who fights Rafine, and like he has to tap into his senses to block off her sexuality, and then you know beats her and so forth. But like someone like Jackie Chung, like Jackie Chung,
he's on the sidelines going, "Ah!"
Exactly, like freaking out and so forth. You know, so that would have worked with somebody else that had a disharmonic sacral. But someone like Krillin, like you can see Krillin, like when Goku's like, why is he backing up away from her as she's like in her like pink underwear and like walking towards and Nama's backing up.
Posing and modeling.
Yeah. Krillin's like, it's kind of like when, I can't remember the example he uses, but it's like when you want to sleep but you can't.
That's
like,
right.
Krillin pretty much represents like, I too would have a hard time with this, but he's not, Gugu, and he's not like resisting. Like he's pretty much admitting he'd probably be acting the same way Nam is, like trying to figure out what to do.
What's appropriate here?
What's appropriate here? Where it wouldn't affect Goku at all. It wouldn't affect Gurren later, the dragon guy. It wouldn't affect him at all either. It might affect Yamcha.
I think, because I was going to bring that up, that it comes down to, I think that fight was really good because it does show the sacral, but also it shows experience too. And I mentioned that with those of the fighters that are not experienced with women or sexuality. And in this, there is also the idea of a man fighting a woman in a martial arts setting is also very, very rare. Even in the whole for like if you think of all the times as a martial artist, I've been in a dojo setting with a bunch of other students, I can think of 2 times there was a female there. And it changes the whole game because boys in our culture are taught you don't hit women. Well, you have to in a sparring match hit each other, and now it's immediately like, okay, now am I not supposed to hit you? But they're saying I'm okay to you, so I'm going to go soft, and I'm actually not going to try and hit you. She's got a completely set of rules where she's going to hit you. She's going to get you good because you're a guy. She knows she has to hit you hard, or else you're not going to feel it.
Exactly.
And then there's the idea of as you grow older into teenagers, there's a lot of other parts on her body you don't want to go anywhere near. So now how are you going to do this?
Yes, how are you going to?
And I'm looking at this fight with her, and I'm like, how would I do that? Even I'd be like, hey, I've already got this issue of how am I going to hit her in a way that's not like broke your nose, but I'm still fighting her so I can win this tournament. But she's going to break my nose. But then now she's in her underwear. There's a lot of places I don't want to touch. There's a lot of places I'm going to avoid touching. But then there's some spots I have to hit, or else this fight's not going anywhere.
Yes.
So I was literally watching that being like, this is a crappy fight to be in, no matter who you are. Yeah. As long as you're male, this is a crappy fight to be in. And even if you win, the way in which you win might just taint your reputation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, your reputation might be tainted, but at the same time, she's in the tournament. She's obviously beaten X amount of guys to get here to this point. So it's like you're risking your reputation there. But you see this too, like, and this is the thing I have with sports where it's like, there's the different weight classes for reasons. There's different divisions of males and females. But one thing I have, is interesting, is I do find this semi-progressive, is that in wrestling now, even up into the high school level, and I think some colleges too, females do wrestle with men. But also at the same time, it's in the weight class.
Yeah.
They're not putting a 135-pound girl against a 180-pound guy. Just like they wouldn't put a 135-pound guy against a 180-pound guy. So they're in the same weight class, but like I wonder how that that goes on. But I do know that for the high school, they have to sign a form. Like their parents have to sign a consent form, and so do the boys, of like an agreement of like, hey, like we are wrestling, and like bodies touch.
Yeah.
And it's like this is not a sexual thing. But if you feel like something went sexual, then talk to your coach about it, and we'll talk about whether it really was. So it's kind of like, don't wrestle with the girl and squeeze. We're not supposed to be squeezing and do weird things. But at the same time, she's agreeing to be pinned. She's agreeing to be thrown around. You're also agreeing to get thrown around by a girl. Yeah. You're also agreeing that like
don't take it personally as a guy.
Don't take it personal. Like, but at the same time, it's like enough schools have adopted it that's like most teams do have 1 or 2 girls. So it's like when you go wrestle the girls, like, well, you've had one in practice. You've seen them doing the same stuff you can do. Like, so there is a progressiveness there. But where I have an issue with it, like, I know this is not what Dragon Ball is about, but we did run into this issue in the Olympics this year with the female boxing, and that there was someone that transgendered from a man to a female that got to be in the Olympics with it. And I can't remember the whole, like their names or anything, but the girl drops in the 3rd round or the 2nd round after like a hit to the face and goes, "It's not fair." Yeah. And she goes, "I could keep going, but this is not fair." And they're actually not the same weight class. And actually the person that's the male that transgendered actually failed gender things, because there is like a way that you can transition and still be able to be in there, but you have to pass gender. So you have to have the full surgery and your hormone levels have to be at that. So the person still had more male energy, more male hormones than she did, and so that part is what I find it, weird. Like so I'm bringing this up in that concept, like it's not really what Dragon Ball is about, but in that more progressive way where it's like, if you can view it as girl and guy, you can fight if you're both agreeing to the same terms and you agree to these things that are going on. But if you're in a girl on girl competition or a guy on guy competition and someone breaks those violations, that's where I have an issue with it. But in this, Nam versus like, she's beating other guys to get here. They all agreed upon it. It's an open gender. It's an open age.
It's like, even open age, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
no junior division.
That's something like, as far as the male female fighting, especially in the martial arts setting, I've seen a lot of that in my life. I've seen a lot of like disaster videos too online. I mean, you go on Twitter, you'll see all kinds of disaster of everything under the sun. But what I see is, so what are the disadvantages? Well, of course, there could be injuries. In wrestling, I've seen some where speaking of male and female wrestling in high school and in junior high, is the body structure starts to change. Men get boxier, women get more of the triangle V shape. And because of that, just in wrestling and in some of the grappling moves, I saw one where the guy was on top and the woman was on bottom. She was trying to do some kind of like triangle lock thing. It involved like having her legs wrapped around his pelvis, and then she had to twist a certain way to change the whole maneuver over. And as she did, because of the way his body was shaped square, it dislocated something in her hip and her spine, and she just like she didn't go limp. She just started twisting and tapping everywhere she could because she no longer had control of the bottom because it was locked now. But now it was dislocated in a point that the muscles weren't going to listen either. So now she's like, oh no, I'm stuck. And the other guy was just like, looking on like, I'm waiting for you to do what you were going to do, but you're not doing anything. What do I do? And then the ref's like, oh no, and comes over to separate them. And the boy, the whole time, the boy literally from beginning to finish is like, huh? Has no idea anything even happened. He was just sitting there, and her twisting broke her. And so there is that where sometimes it could be literally just because they're two different genders and body structures, you're going to have a problem.
The bones are different,
And I've seen many others in my own personal experience where the woman, because of her structure, has edges that, because of the way she's performing her martial arts, give her so much more ability than the male does, that you could have any of those size difference, weight differences, but density difference, they get mitigated by that. I've had my own ass kicked by a girl she was only in the martial arts dojo 2 years more than me, but she just destroyed me. She was already at the point where she was working on weapon mastery. Well, I was still working on just the 8-point systems. And so I thought, oh man, I got to hold back on this girl. And after one exchange, I was like, no, I don't think I need to. Like, this girl has just destroyed me. And so seeing that there is potential, but I really do believe that once you move up into adulthood, that you have to separate the two out in a sports setting. Now, in a real combat setting, there's a whole different dynamic because you will have women in real life that say running down the street or walking down the street, jogging, whatever, they get attacked. Now it's a real life combat situation where they have to know how to work around their body as opposed to a male body.
Agreed.
In which case I feel like that has to be a part of women's education, is that self-defense training, and it has to be with males and females. So that they can understand the differences, the leverages. There's so many moments where you hear about women, she tried to fight back, but she was killed by the attacker. But there's also every so often you find a woman where no matter what the condition she was in the hospital after the fact, her fighting tooth and nail is what let her survive, because the attacker eventually went, this isn't worth it. Sometimes she actually manages to just rock the attacker. But there are other times where most times the attacker eventually just go, this isn't worth the struggle. This isn't worth the noise. This isn't worth all the marks I'm getting. And whether they run away or not, because you marked them up, you struggled, you made noise, people notice, that guy's going to get caught now. And so I think that is why it has to be honestly mandatory. I'm a father of a daughter, and I feel that it is absolutely mandatory in my son and my daughter's educations that they learn how to be fighters because of that. It could happen to anyone at any time. And it comes down to, it's about 8 to 20 seconds that make whether you're going to survive it or you're going to die.
Yes.
And that training is what makes or breaks those 8 to 20 seconds.
Yeah. It makes sense. And I agree. Like, it's having the self-defense to defend yourself, to carry it out where it becomes too much of an effort, or you do win, and makes it like, well, sounds like, well, they fought back and didn't. It's because, well, either one, there was weapons involved, or usually it's because they didn't know how to defend themselves and they didn't know the proper things or how to use their body. And I agree, as you said too, like when it comes to the adult level, like there needs to be that separation, and that's why even in like UFC and MMA, like there is that separation. And then, as you said, like, but even the adult martial arts world, like there are certain martial art tournaments you go to and they are mixed, but that's agreed upon. Like it's agreed that this is, you're entering into. Well, and like in Dragon Ball example, this is the world tournament. This is the best of the best of the world. And that's what I love about it. It's like, there is no discrimination. Yeah, they're shocked kids are coming in, but women are allowed, men are allowed, children are allowed.
Really old men are allowed.
Yes, really old men are allowed. Dogs are allowed. Animals are allowed.
Pterodactyl is allowed.
Pterodactyl, like anything in the world that can speak and can fight is allowed in. Like there's no beasts, there's no Tyrannosaurus Rexes in there. They're like, but Goku and Krillin trained with them, running away from them.
And they did have that huge preliminary elimination rounds where they did like, if you can actually throw down, you're going to make it past this round. If you can't, you're eliminated because you're clearly just don't belong here. So for that woman to make it past the preliminaries alone, like you said, it means she can fight. To get to the point she's at, she knows how to fight at least some to be able to get that far. Yes. What if she ran into another female? Clearly she knows how to fight.
Clearly she knows how to fight. I'm sure there's other females that were there. And also, even if she couldn't use the guys the whole time, because like, she has to be able to fight enough to do damage. Because like, if you can't hit and you can't do any damage to anyone, then you're pretending to be like a cute girl. Oh, don't hurt me isn't going to work when you go for your surprise attack. because then they're gonna be like, "What'd you do? I don't get it." You know,
Mhm.
it's like the same time as like when people try to shoot at Goku and it like bounces off. Which, for the record, this is a completely why Goku can beat Superman is because Goku as a child is having the bolts already bounce off of him. Which yes, Superman could too, but Superman enters at this level and stays at this level. Goku's having bullets bounce off of him, and he keeps
He keeps going up.
going up.
That's true.
But anyways, that's a whole different debate there that people bring up sometimes, and that's not talking about Super Saiyan Goku. But coming back to Dragon Ball, so that she loses the fight because he taps in, closes his eyes, taps into his emotions properly, his intuition, and wins, which I think is amazing, and it's this conquering of that, and it is this idea of like this acceptance that's allowed when done appropriately, when all full consent and everyone's aware of what's going on, and also obviously it's not illegal to take your clothes off in the middle of the fight.
Right.
Like it's not illegal for Krillin to throw panties on the ground, like
That's true.
like there's a little bit of like
They
all
even
things
discussed
kinda
whether
go.
or not bringing Nimbus in from outside the battlefield in was legal or not, and they only allowed it one time. So
because it is a cloud and it's like kind of bouncing off a cloud, but it's like you shouldn't be able to bounce off of clouds.
you should
So-
be able, and you shouldn't be able to bring something into the fight from outside the fight after it has started.
Yeah.
Makes sense. It'd be like if somebody threw you a knife from the crowd. That shouldn't be allowed.
I know that should be allowed. Yeah, exactly. And no weapons are, yeah. And so it's just interesting, and that's that brings me into that next fight we have here, which is like the solar plexus, and that's Goku versus Gurren, which is where the Nimbus cloud comes in.
Yeah, that's right.
The giant dragon. He breaths him with the bubble gum or the merry-go-round gum. It comes out of his mouth and then throws him super far. And then he uses Nimbus to come back. But their whole battle, like even before the battle begins, it's just willpower.
Yep.
It's like they both show up, it starts raining, they still want to fight, they go to eat food, they
Yep.
want to fight again. But it's like they recognize each other's strengths and they both want to Gurren's is kind of like the maybe just harmonic fighter, like I just want to fight and destroy and I'm wasteful and I'm destructive.
Mhm.
Where Goku's is like, I want to fight because I want to fight and that's fun and I want to push my strength and I want to see what's going to happen. And he does want to win the tournament. But also, like, he's kind of hit the point where he's just going to do his best. And you see that in the interview when he gets interviewed. It's like, well, we're just going to do my best. I'm here to fight. Do you think you'll win? Well, I'm definitely going to have fun. Like,
Yep.
he wants to win, but he's there to do so. His willpower is there. And it's just a battle of strength, back and forth, strength, strength, strength. And then finally, when Goku breaks out of the gum, Gurren goes, I'm out. I surrender.
Ooh, that's some strength.
The
Yeah.
first time ever someone surrenders in the quarterfinals, apparently, according to the announcer. But also, that's him probably saying he himself has never been able to break his own merry-go-round. So it's like his own best technique. He can't beat it. This guy just did. We're out.
And it's a kid, no less. This
It's a
child just whammed that. Like,
Whammed.
I don't think I want to get hit by him.
Yeah. And you see it after the tournament. They actually run into him again later. There's like a little side mission to get like water from this waterfall and so forth that's held by the merry-go-gum. And the guys are being all disrespectful. And then the boss comes, and Gurren comes, and he's like, oh no, this is the guy that beat me at the tournament. Immediately, Goku has respect. And I was like, well, if anyone can break merry-go-round gum off of these rocks that have been here for centuries, I'm sure you can. Like, you're probably the only one that can. Like, you're the only one that can break this stuff. So it's like this pure solar plexus, fire on fire, willpower, your own drive, your own determination. They both have their own determination. But Gurren's is just there to fight and be destructive. He just wants to kick some ass. Goku's there because, he wants to do the same thing. He wants to kick some ass, but in a playful way.
Mm-hmm.
And as you see, this is something that repeats with Goku. And you see it in the next fight with Goku, which is the Heart 1 where he fights Nam. 2, he creates a bond with whoever he fights with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even in the guy that wanted to, weren't cool with each other, was mad that he took his food and was mad in the water thing, didn't care about the tournament, just wanted to kick Goku's butt because he wants to fight for whatever reason, becomes maybe not friends, but at least really good acquaintances with Goku after this battle. I respect your fighting. Which, I saw this in high school all the time. Like, there are people I got in fights with, and it's like, usually most people, I would say, actually every single person I got in an actual physical fight with, like, not shoving in the hallways at school, but like, okay, we're going to meet at the movie theaters, and we're going to kick, we're going to meet here, and we're going to get into it. Every single person like that either later became someone that I was a friend with, or that I knew that, like, if I was in the gym, like, doing weights and, like, needed a spotter, they would spot me. Mm-hmm. Or we just never spoke to each other again, but we were okay with each other. It was like, you walk in the hallway, so like, we're not friends, but there's no beef. It's over. But it's like there's a mutual respect. There's a mutual respect that has happened, and that's kind of a guy energy. That's a masculine energy of like, but when you get to actually put it all out on the line, and it's not held back, it's not stopped, it's full, true, pure fire solar plexus expression. a bond can happen. When two fires get added together, they become a greater, warmer fire, you know. But if one fire is too big and the other fire is not big enough, they'll either, you know, the bigger fire will get dampened while it consumes the smaller fire because they're not at the same temperature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had a very similar upbringing too, where most of my friends in elementary school and all the way through high school were guys that I fought with first, and then we gained respect for each other, and then we understood that we actually had a lot in common, and then we started hanging out together.
Yeah.
And so, I wonder if a part of that wiring was similar and the same enough between us, despite our backgrounds, that it just kind of clicks that way in your teen years. That this is just how men figure it out in this time of our lives.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't think of a single person who hasn't either been a part of that rough and tumble or at least watched other boys go through that rough and tumble and not understood that. And you go to girls on the other hand, and women, they have a hard time understanding it because you don't see girls like, hey, let's go fight, and then they fight and now they're inseparable. Like, that's not a female thing.
No. I mean, when I saw girls fight in high school or even just like in general, like it's vicious. It's like hair gets grabbed, faces get slammed into lockers. Like, guys don't fight like that.
No.
Like, we're aiming to hurt each other, but we're not trying to like kill each other. Like, girls fight like they're trying to kill each other.
Yeah, and it's almost like when guys fight, it's like, who's the bigger boxer is basically what it is. Like,
and it is I'll fully admit, like, it is a bit of like, you know, taking them out on the table and measuring who's got a bigger one, but more in like, that aspect doesn't matter because we're never going to fuck each other. That only matters to the girls you're fucking. But guy-wise, who's stronger? You know, who's got bigger muscles? Who can beat who? And even then, I remember some of the friends I had that we didn't fight first as friends. Like, we didn't like, you know, fight and then become friends. They were still the guys I loved to like roughhouse with. Like, some of my best friends were like guys where, you know, like we put holes in walls accidentally because like roughhousing. Oh, went over the couch. Oh, shoulder in the wall. Hey, we're gonna rearrange the entire downstairs now, so parents don't know we broke stuff because we were roughhousing. So that's the thing for that. Didn't realize it was gonna beep so loud. Apologies.
A bomb is going off.
A bomb's going off.
That happens a lot in Dragon Ball too. Somebody just uses a bomb to win a fight.
Yeah, just use a bomb to win a fight. We'll try to wins a bomb to use a fight or cheats in that way. Yeah, which in the tournament there's no bombs in the
not
tournament.
In this one.
Yeah, but like that's kind of the thing there. And one thing I'll say last about that roughhousing, like I don't say, you know, I'm not saying like it's perfect, but I think it's a part of good masculine energy, and it teaches you how to have healthy masculine energy and use your emotions, as well as it helps you build confidence in your body. And then also, like, it encourages you to like maybe take care of yourself a little bit better or whatever. But like the guys I have met that didn't go through that experience, like didn't have that kind of experiences, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them in any way, but some of them are a little bit like they're unsure of themselves. They lack confidence. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with like carrying a gun or anything like that, but these are the kind of guys that like purposely carry guns, like non-concealed, so you can see it on them at all times, or they let you know they have one in their jockey box. Like, I remember being in high school, like I guess I was right out of high school. Like, I was like 18, freshly graduated, went to go buy some weed from this guy one time, and like the guy I'm riding with, we show up and he was buying it like way more than I was. Like, I was just picking up like for myself. The other guy was like selling at the time, and he was like, don't worry, I got my 40 caliber in the middle, and like shows me his 40 caliber, like cocks it, puts it on his waist and go in there, and I'm like, dude, we're just picking up some weed. Like,
what do you think is gonna go on?
like you're grabbing a QP because you're selling to like your 5 buddies, and like I'm grabbing just for my own personal like but it was that level of like, oh, I don't trust myself, you know. Oof. And so it's like, even in the like I know how to fight and I know how to take care of myself, I also don't see, like, I'm almost 35. I don't see the rest of my life me ever being in a fight that's serious. I can see myself throwing on some gloves and messing around with some friends. I can see myself doing some jiu-jitsu. I can see myself doing some sacred fighting, maybe even like retreats or like some kendo stick fighting with some friends. Like, but I never see myself being in a situation where I'll have to use violence again. Because I feel like I walk with this, you know, like, I mean you no harm, you mean me no harm. I have nothing you want, and I'm not a threat to you. And like my general vibration of life is like, that's never gonna happen in my life again. I'm never gonna be in a situation again where I need to defend myself that way, or I've mouthed off in some way that's angered somebody that I now have to. Yeah. But that's because I've gone through that. But it's that idea too that even people that are in the spiritual realm and have done the personal work, having not had those kinds of experiences, they still like walk with you know, like they lack confidence in themselves, you know, they hold back, you know, they wear swords everywhere they go, you know, and these are the same kind of people too, that whenever they get into something, like they get into spirituality, it's like, there's nothing wrong with wearing nice clothes. Like, I like nice fun clothes. Like, I like chakra shirts, I like Peruvian clothing and so forth. But these are the guys that you'll see. It's like, oh, they went and did one meditation, and now they're walking around with like giant chakra shirts, and they've got bandanas, and they've got feathers sticking out of their hair, and they're like, I'm enlightened. I'm enlightened. I don't need to do the work. I'm enlightened. Those guys and gals, but those guys usually fall into that trap because they haven't had that healthy masculine energy that allows you to express yourself in your fullness. Last thing I'll say about this, and then we'll get back to Dragon Ball, but there's this really cool statue that I saw in Hawaii, and it's this really tall, buff man, and he's actually meant to be the original Maui, but he's really big, and actually in his hands is a lotus, and the lotus, so he's a bronze statue, and then the lotus is this golden lotus, and the lotus has roots going down through his fingers, and the roots touch the ground, they're supposed to be going into the ground. It's a statue, and then the lotus is in his hand, and it's supposed to represent masculine energy, that the masculine holds itself so strong and bold and confident that it allows the feminine energy to blossom like a lotus in the hands of the masculine to its fullest beauty and glory. Which is like, as a human, if you work on mastering your masculine energy and you're confident in it, then your feminine energy, your creativity, the way you want to be, how you want others to perceive you, does show up in the way you want. So you become an authentic being. So it's like there's this balance that's there. And so like, I know we're talking about Dragon Ball, and it's fun and it's cool and it's this cool show and it's got a lot of cool teachings in it. And it's like fighting, but it's like something about getting to fight or get your energy out is good for you. And even if you're not someone who's going to go roughhouse, still working out is good. Rock climbing, hiking, doing things that push the body to a limit that then you have to know your limit and enter into that grind state builds confidence in the body. And that confidence in the body allows your emotions to come out properly, I think.
Yeah, I like that, what you mentioned there about the statue. I've heard that teaching from a different angle called The Secret of the Golden Flower. And it's absolutely that same, just different words, but the same thing you said about that masculine and that feminine power in the hands of that masculine, how that masculine actually can do that. I think of that as in the West, you see in Christianity, it's the laying on of hands. It's how you could have a father or a masculine figure in your family or in your community actually be able to exert a kind of spiritual power that can heal or cause great motion in people's lives for good. And without enforcing it, without coming in and being like, this is how we're doing things the way that masculinity usually shows up as, but being able to approach that as a softer one. I think going back to medicine, it's like the difference between the father approach versus the grandfather approach, where one is much more, we're doing this now, son. The other one is, well, why don't we look at it this way? And so it's just so much softer and more gradual and more in your own time rather than we're doing this now, whether you like it or not.
It is that softer, like that granular energy. It's still masculine, but it's matured masculine. It's we're doing this because it's like what we want to do. It's like it's what we desire to do. And like even just like a small example, like my own grandfather, like there was a time when I had a job where I worked at a bakery and I had to be there at 5 a.m. So I had to get up at 4 a.m. And I lived like 40 minutes away. And my grandparents lived like 10 minutes from the place. So I'd stay at their house on the days I worked. And like almost every morning, like my grandpa's up, like he was an older guy, like he did construction work for himself, was retired. So he's already up at 4 a.m. I remember like waking up on the couch at 4 a.m. and he'd just be like, yep, I know it's hard, but money's nice and paying the bills is nice, but it's hard to get up. I get it. And there was that energy of like, yeah, you're struggling. Totally understand. But also remember, you want to make money and this job pays good. And you only have to work like 3 days a week with this job. And you make as much as you would if you worked 5 days. Like, like these little things where it's like my dad's energy would have been like, yep, get up, let's go. You said you're going to do it, so we do it.
Stop wanting
you agree to it, we go. Which my grandpa's energy was still, you agreed to it, so you go. It was the exact same vibration, just with it's rough, huh?
There's a lot of empathy there that there wasn't before.
And the same as like, like if I'm spotting somebody, they're like they're benching or they're like curling or whatever, squatting, and they're struggling. I'm like, I know it's hard. I know it's rough, but you got it. I'm not like, hey man, suck it up, pussy. Like that's not good. Like that might work for some people, but most people that's just gonna like cause tension in the friendship. But the work for it. Come on, work for it. Push yourself. You got it. I know it sucks. I know it's heavy. It's 4 plates. I get it. It's heavy. It's 405 pounds. I get it. Or whatever. I'm just making up a number here at this point, But it's like I get that it's heavy, but you got it. And that's the same you see with Master Roshi. Yes, this is tough, but you boys got it. I'm not going to teach you how to fight because it's just the innate expression of your body that you already know. You already know how to fight. I'm going to build your strength up, And so like coming back to Dragon Ball a little bit here with like Nam and Goku, he's the heart chakra battle too, is Goku. But they respect each other. So similar to the solar plexus where they recognize the fire in each other.
Yeah.
This is they respect each other and they respect the martial arts. And so they're both giving it their all. And yes, again, Nam has his reasons. He's very heart-centered on this. He knows why he wants to do this. Goku loves martial arts and loves a good challenge. And even in the beginning, he goes, oh, what technique should I use? And he's being very playful, very childlike, very nature-y, heart energy.
Yeah.
Does the thing he just saw Jackie Chung do, and and it doesn't work. He does the after image technique. Nam dodges. They go back and forth. They do some amazing techniques on each other, and they love the game of fighting. And then they afterwards, Nam's like, good fight. And he goes, I still have my own problems to figure out, but it's not Goku's fault for beating me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I think if he would have lost to Rafon, he might have been like, oh, that dirty woman tricked me.
Yeah.
Where losing to Goku is like, no, Goku fought with all of his heart. He respected me as a fighter and saw me as a person, didn't try to deceive me, fought honestly, which is heart chakra energy. When you have a conversation heart to heart and you're authentic, and you're not trying to hide anything, you bond. You can have full things. You can even say things that might offend somebody and they still get okay with it. Like I've had this with myself where one of my saboteurs in my brain is a people pleaser. And so sometimes after I've hung out with even with you and Clayton or other people, I think sometimes about what I've said. I'm like, oh man, I said this. They could have taken that this way, and I could have I could have hurt them. And it's the thought goes on for about 30, 45 seconds, and then I go, yeah, but I was so authentic, and I was in my heart space, and they were in their heart space, that if there was an issue, they would have said something, or they would bring it up and be like, hey man, can you not say that again? We joke, we push each other, we tease each other, but we also we know the lines a little bit. And if we ever cross the line, we know we would say something to each other. And same with other friends, I think about that. Or even my own mentor, sometimes I'm like, oh man, I embarrassed myself. I got so excited about this. And I poured my heart and soul out to her. And she probably thinks I'm such a silly kid. I'm like, yeah, there is a 15-year difference between us. So to her, I am a kid, but there is that level of sometimes I feel that way. And I'm like, yeah, but she doesn't view you that way. She doesn't look down on you. All of that is my own people pleaser. But it's knowing that. But what solves that people pleaser mindset or feeling like I might have offended or made a fool of myself for someone is I know that because I'm showing up as my authentic heart-centered self, it doesn't matter. You love me or you don't love me. Because regardless, I'm being me. And so I'm not being a fake me. If you don't love the fake me, that's on me for being a fake me. If you don't love the real me, that's on you and that's your own issue. That's your own projection. And as an example, in sweat lodges or other ceremonies, when I've had people that have been that's a really hard song you sung for me. I've had people after singing Ho'oponopono, which is just Ho'oponopono, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. And I sing those lyrics, Ho'oponopono, those 4 lines again for 5 minutes straight sometimes. Sometimes it's longer than that. I've had people be like, that's a really hard song for me when you sing that. Because it's so repetitive and it's hard and it's this deep bass voice and it's really hard for me. Well, the song is about loving yourself and forgiving yourself. And Ho'oponopono is a very healing energy. It's actually a projection that healing energy is hard for them. But because my voice bugs them, it's their masculine wounds. I'm triggering all the masculine wounds within them. Nothing to do with me. It's all about them. And so it's, not that I'm not there to help them and not that I'm not your issue, not mine. I'm not going to stop singing because I'm being authentically me. But guess what? By being authentically me, I'm pulling energy out of you. Same the reason with ayahuasca ceremonies. When shamans sing those certain songs and it triggers people, they're being authentically them. They're so in tune with the medicine that the medicine is acting from heart space. They're acting from heart space. It becomes the Buddhic state. And so that's essentially what happens here, is that they have a battle in the Buddhic state. Full on transcendental experience. No one's having visuals, but they both transcend afterwards.
It's all authenticity.
And then Nam is open to Master Roshi helping him and giving him the water and solves all the issues for him anyways. But at the same time, it's in that Buddhic state that they have a battle. So that's the heart chakra battle as Goku and Nam.
Awesome. Yeah, that one's a good one too. After that we have just the 4 finals, right?
Yes, I haven't actually been going in order. I've been going in the chakra order. We kind of bouncing around a little bit, but yeah. So we've had Kuan and Bacteria, Nam and Rafan. I always mess with that girl's name because she's only in there for a few episodes.
Yeah.
You have Goku and the dragon, pterodactyl guy, Gurren.
That's right, Gurren. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Goku and Nam. And we talked about Roshi and Krillin. So we still have Roshi and Yamcha, which is actually the first fight, and then we have Goku and Roshi. Yeah, is where we're at. Which I can dive into that with Yamcha and Roshi. I put that one as a third eye because of the intuition. But before I dive onto this, anything you want to to add on before we dive into the next fight? I feel like I've been going for a moment.
A quote that I pulled out is not from the show, but something I noticed in the show with the whole lunch launch, but then also the female in her underwear in the fight, the way Bulma is in the background. There's something that keeps coming to mind, and it's how these females tend to interact with the male characters in battle and in storyline, and it's somewhat from the Hindu teachings that women were made to terrify the ego of men. So I kind of mess with that with regards to the show. A good woman terrifies a man's ego, a bad one simply terrifies. And you see that where there's, in the show, when they terrify their ego, there's a greater purpose. Either the guy's being dumb or being sexual or whatever, and so getting the machine gun, or it's you're not helping in the right way, get the machine gun. Yeah. And so I've noticed that when you have the toxic female, like for example, when Launch has got the machine gun, she's in blonde mode and she's just attacking them just because they're men in the room with her. Yeah. That's an example of, okay, she's just terrifying. That one, there's no purpose behind it. It's completely got nothing even triggered her. She's just like, oh, there's men here, die. That's terrifying. I think that is, I love that that's in there because it does show that there's no such thing as a useless woman. There's no such thing as a woman that you can really throw away. There's none that prejudice is completely false. Yeah. What there is women who, like any other male character, there's them who are playing the proper role and those who don't know the role they need to play. And so harmony, disharmony. And so I look at Lunch, she's innocent, she's kind, she's happy, she's like sweet little Lunch, can do nothing wrong, except you can tell her to do anything, even if it's bad, and she's going to do it. I mean, she doesn't have that willpower. Yeah,
like go put on this outfit, this is our secret training armor, and then...
She was going to take her clothes off in front of everybody right there in public. She didn't even, the thought didn't even occur that, wait a second, what are you doing? Because she's just going to follow the instruction.
Yeah, she's just very innocent.
Very innocent, very naive, follows does what she's told. Launch, good luck. You can't even, don't tell her to do anything. Don't even try. Don't even look her way because she'll shoot you. And it's woman who is, and it's not like Toriyama goes into, okay, here's her origin story. Here's everything you need to know about what's going on in her psychology. I don't think you ever even get the whole, like, what's she thinking moments. No. You can get anything. It's just, boom, Launch is just shooting at you now. Launch is trying to rob a bank now. Launch is trying to flee the police now. Yes. And so she's just that. And I think the reason for that is, at least my interpretation of Toriyama's work, is she represents how there are females, just like there are males, that are completely just they're not in harmony at all. Yeah. And so you have in media, you see that as the biker chick who's just there to kind of like antagonize things, or the alternative homeless chick who works for the gang that comes in and shoplifts and then gets caught on purpose so the gang can come in the back door and steal the money. Yeah. Things like that where they don't necessarily have willpower of their own, but when they do, it's not used in a way that the other main characters would for some overarching character building, some adventure, some goal. It's just here, now, this. I feel that is because people, male and female, who are in that part of their life, it's day to day, it's moment by moment. They've become just a lever in the great machine of their society and their world. And so think of it as they're like the button that is being pushed instead of the person who's pushing the button. Yeah. So there's almost no choice in what's happening to them and what they're doing and how they're reacting to it. And whether it's Lunch or Lunch, they're both like that all the time. Yes. And I think for the course of all of Dragon Ball, it's not until Tien hooks up with Lunch that she finally has direction and a home and actually, things start to work out a little bit. And even then, he's still dealing with, now she's launched now with the machine gun.
Yeah. Well, and even then, it's Launch with the machine gun that has the attraction to Tien and is going after Tien. He's not even like fully reciprocating. Like he kind of is, but kind of isn't in some ways. Like he's like, okay, cool, this is awesome. But again, doesn't know how to act around women. He's been so focused on fighting and learning, and like so much so that like he has a third eye even open physically. Like he's manifested his third eye abilities so well. It's appeared physically. And I have to look into that to remember, but I can't remember if Toriyama ever actually talks about it, because somebody once said that Tien comes from a certain race of human that are in that world. There's other people like that, but I couldn't find anything that was actual Dragon Ball lore. So
I found one thing one time, and it's just a one line. Same with Pilaf, where it just says, he's an imp-like monster human or monster earthling. With Tien, I found mutant human earthling. Yeah. And so whether it's he was born as a mutant or it mutated and it developed, that's not specific. It's just he is this, an earthling who is a mutant.
Who's a mutant. And whether Toriyama was aware of that wording or not, we call things evolution in society, but the actual scientific, when they look at evolution, it's actually mutations. There's adaptation, mutations, and then from adaptation and mutations becomes evolution. That's why it takes hundreds of years for evolution. Yes. But there's mutations that happen first, and then those mutations become adaptations. So it's so either he mutated himself, he manipulated it. In that same way, sometimes even alchemy is called mutation. You're mutating the substance, which doesn't mean it's a bad thing, So Because no, Tien's the first X-Man.
Yes.
Maybe that's why they're called the Z Fighters. But
He's the first Z-Man.
first Z-Man. It'd be so funny if like there was like some like origin thing, like just like that Tien's like, hey, we should call ourselves the Z Fighters, because like no one ever calls themselves Z Fighters other than the narrator. And then when the Saiyans show up and they're all there to fight, and the newscast is showing them there to fight, they're like, the world's greatest martial artists have assembled, known as the Z Fighters. And like that's the only time anyone in the story calls them Z Fighters, other than the narrator.
Yep.
So I just find that funny. It'd be funny if there was like some back thing there where Tien's like, we should call ourselves the Z Fighters, and everyone's like, no. And then like after he wins a tournament, he's like, so I'm part of the Z Fighters, because he's the one that gets publicity.
Yeah.
But no, so tying it back into the fight with Yamcha and Roshi, the third eye, because it's very intuitive. Like Roshi, like Yamcha never lands. I mean, I don't think he lands. He doesn't land a hit on Jackie. He gets blocked, but he lands hits, and Roshi has to block him a few times. But like he never lands a solid hit on him. And even then, Roshi points out that like your movements are great, but they're too flashy. And so it's point out a little bit that Yamcha's in the disharmonic intuition. He's mastered some stuff, and he's a really good martial art fighter, and he's got his own creativity with like the Wolfane Fist, but also like he's very flashy. And we see that actually him and Roshi are the only two that are using energy manipulation. So Roshi uses Kamehameha, Goku does later too, that's energy manipulation, but this is a different version of energy manipulation they do. Wolfane Fist is an energy of like this wolf-like energy, and then he does a bunch of punches and kicks. So it's a combo with his quote-unquote chi or ki attached to it. I guess a better way to look at this actually would be it's a combo with his chi attached to it, where Kamehameha is a ki blast.
Yeah.
And then when Roshi pushes him with the cold wind, like, let me bring in the wind here. So it kind of brings in the wind elemental energy. That's actually chi. That's moving the piranha through you and your own personal power to direct it. Where ki is your personal power, and then it comes out as its own physical manifestation. Where like Wolfane Fist and chi, it's very similar to Reiki, where you're moving energy that already exists.
Yeah.
Where the ki does exist, but you're concentrating it and actually making a new thing. So the way to look at it is like Kamehameha and all energy blasts are actually Fibonacci. It's pulling the outside energy and your own internal chi. So you're pulling the outside piranha and your internal chi to create ki. And then the other way around is that they're using energy manipulation, their own chi. So he uses the wind blast, which is this cold breeze. And then even when they're walking away, he said, I'm just like, what'd you use? He's like, oh, that's just a manipulation of the energy within you and around us. I might even teach you that someday. Which, later on, fasting forward, you have the next tournament where Yamcha exists, and he does the first version of the Spirit Bomb. Not the Spirit Bomb that we know from Goku does and attracts energy from everyone else, but he calls it Spirit Bomb, and he brings out raw energy in his hand and uses it and moves it around and so forth. Which is essentially like, I think he learned that from Jackie Chan. Like he got that guy's butt kicked, figured out how to do it, and then improved upon it.
Yeah.
His own version of how Goku sees everything and then copies it. Yamcha Fibonacci'd how he lost the first tournament to create a new technique.
And he watched them all use Kamehameha against each other after that too. And he must have been like, oh, you can actually energy that.
Yeah. When he goes and trains with Roshi after this point, so after the first tournament, at some point he goes and trains with Roshi. By the time the second tournament comes around, he's been trained under Roshi. And he also knows the Kamehameha.
So he gets his uniform.
He gets his orange uniform, which is really just him changing his shirt color because he's green and orange, and then he just goes full orange. But yeah, so it's really cool. And again, Yamcha is the power level model for the world. And what I mean by that is like power scaling. Like he's always part of the world building, but he's the power scaler. So he shows you where people at. He's equal to Goku. And now we fast forward to post training. He's gotten stronger too, so is Goku, but he loses to Roshi. So power scaling Roshi, he's really strong. And then we get power scaling, moving into the Roshi fight. He fights Azura, the giant monkey version of himself. He has to go full power, beef up. Only other time we see him do this is when he takes down the mountain that's on fire.
Yeah.
And even then, he says he thought he was holding back.
And that's the thing about the Ozaru fight is that starts because he's like, this kid's ridiculous. You know what? Here's something I'll bet he's never into. But only to use this one time, he hits him with magic, which is, I think, the first time magic itself shows up as I'm using magic now and I'm establishing this is magic.
Yeah.
And then he like literally paralyzes him and hovers up in the air.
Yeah, hypnotizes him, paralyzes him. Yeah. Is what the rabbit does? Is that magic, or is that just a trick he does?
That's a trick he does because I guess you would call that magic because he touches them and they transform into something else, but that's still them.
Yeah.
I guess that's magic too. Yeah.
Yeah,
They
I
don't
was just saying that
explain
he
that
doesn't
though.
call it magic though. He calls it like he has a power.
Yeah.
But yeah, but this is the first actual magic we see, as well as
Because
hypnosis.
Roshi explains it. This is magic. I'm doing this. And even does the whole emperor like zappy thing to him too.
Yeah. Oh, and then he uses electricity, where he actually, which we see later in the Super, he uses that power again.
Mhm.
But that's the thing to point out about Master Roshi. He uses like a bunch of different techniques throughout the entire fight. Like you actually see him as a master of martial arts.
Mhm.
Like he uses Crane when he's fighting Krillin. He has a different stance when he fights
That's true.
Yamcha. And then
He
when he fights
eventually goes
Goku, he uses
drunken.
He uses I can't remember his original one that he starts off with, and then he uses hypnosis, he uses electricity,
Mhm.
and then he uses full power Kamehameha to burst the thing. So like this is why that one got to be the Crown Chakra, because one is it's the tournament final, but also you get to see him use all these different aspects of martial arts, which the Crown Chakra is what connects us all. It is the everything of everyone. So when you to actually activate your own Crown Chakra, you have to experience other people, and the only way you really get to know yourself, the only way you can actually see your own reflection, your own true reflection, is in the eyes of another. Because mirrors are two-dimensional,
Yes.
and they distort, and then cameras also distort. You ever taken a picture of the moon with your camera?
Oh yeah.
Same thing when you take a picture of yourself. Like you don't think that same distortion isn't happening? So the only way you can actually see yourself is when you're close enough to someone to see your physical self in the reflection of their eyes, but also the only way you can experience yourself and truly know yourself is by having experiences with others.
Mhm.
And so the Crown Chakra of martial arts would be knowing all these different techniques, which means Master Roshi trained under multiple people, which means he's been shocked by lightning. He's been hypnotized,
Oh yeah.
like, only thing he created himself was the Kamehameha.
Mhm.
And even then, like, just with the Azura fight, to point out, Goku never steps out of the ring, even when he's Giant Monkey. He never has a ring outside.
That's so interesting too, because he's stomping around, he's swinging around. It's
He's destroying that front part that we see Krillin get knocked into and comes down, and that's part of the ring. We see Goku jump off of it. We see Jackie Chung jump off of that wall. Is part of the ring.
Mhm. That's so funny. Yeah, you're right. He's somehow respective of the boundaries of the ring, even in monkey form.
In the ring the whole time. Even when he stomps, his feet are still in the ring. And when he's punching, his feet are in the ring. And the announcer never calls a ring out.
I think that there's another sign that shows that there is a consciousness in there. It's not that he's totally doesn't remember who he is. It's that there is some part of child Goku still in there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's when he picks up Bulma and he doesn't eat her. He doesn't throw her. He doesn't smack her. He just goes, huh. And at first it looks like he's trying to eat her repeatedly. But why would he go, He's not doing that. He's just talking. Like if you look at the way monkeys and baboons behave, they'll do that. They'll just sit there and chat at each other like that with their mouths.
And he's like moving her closer and like, yeah. Like,
so I think what it is, she's like, it's me. And he goes, rawr, huh. I think it is you. It's Bulma, but it's the animal state, not the Goku state.
Yes.
And so it recognizes her, but then it doesn't recognize what to do with her. And she's yelling and screaming and passes out. So he's like, oh, wake up, wake up. I think that's what that is, hey, wake up. Yeah. Why are you asleep?
Why are you asleep?
And then they attack him. And he's like, what?
And he's like, okay,
starts waving her around again.
Like, we're done with this. I'm being attacked now.
So I think that his childlike, Goku-like, naive innocence, that little core of Kid Goku is still active in there. Yeah. It's just so far below everything else that, like, as soon as, for example, Yamcha starts jumping on his tail, that anger of you're messing with me immediately consumes that child again, and then he's kicking and raging again.
And then the tail being the sensitive thing is like being in pain. It's like when you're grumpy in pain. Like I know, like when I'm in pain, I'm a little more grumpy.
Mm-hmm.
And just as an example, like my wife's a massage therapist. I did it again.
Explode.
The bomb's gonna go off. Okay, that may not be my best idea. Sometimes I make mistakes too, so it may not be an idea to work with the podcast. We'll figure something else out. We don't want grenades going off in the background. But with chronic pain, like my wife's a massage therapist, and she just points out sometimes that like you can tell people come in kind of grumpy sometimes, and sometimes they're like, "Oh, we work on today, my neck and my back." Okay, well, I'm gonna give you a few minutes to get changed. Like, what kind of pressure? Like medium to hard. Like they're rude. And then when they're leaving, they're like, "Oh, thank you so much. That was so great. Here's a giant tip." Because when you're in pain, you talk differently.
Yeah.
So I'm just pointing out as an example. It's like they're jumping on the pain. So he's going from curiosity monkey to I'm now in pain. We're different when we're in pain. Mm-hmm. Same as like when we're depressed, when we're in a different emotional state, we're different. So Goku's in full emotional monkey state, which, he's in Azara mode, which is a 10 times multiplier. So if he's at power level 25 after going into battle with, training with Roshi, he's now at 250. Mm-hmm. Roshi's only at power level 100. So the only way he can beat this thing is to blow up the moon. He figures out the moon's the cause of it. And the Kamehameha wave must be extremely bright, or must be such a high energy frequency that Yamcha can't observe it properly, and neither can Krillin, because they both think that he shot Goku with it. But we see in the animation, he goes past him and hits the moon. Like when we see it go past him, and we see it hit the moon, and it blows up. And then it's like, it takes like another 30 seconds to like 5 minutes before like it gets explained that Goku's alive. He's right there in the rubble. He's fine, you know. But it's like both Krillin and Yamcha, like I can understand Bulma not seeing it, but like they're semi-trained. And so it's like obviously they're at such a high vibrational frequency they couldn't perceive of it fully, you know, which then makes me wonder when other people use energy blasts, what that actually looks like to them. So maybe Hercule going, oh, it's just lights and shadows and mirrors.
He claims there's pyrotechnics going on.
Maybe it really looks like, maybe it doesn't look like it's coming out of their hand. Maybe it's just so bright and flashy, and you can see the fire hit them.
So dude takes pose. There's a flash, and instead of seeing the beam leave the hand and hit the guy like we see, they only see the flash impact the guy who got hit and watch him just get devastated and think, what the hell exploded?
Yeah, or I think something.
It's like Power Rangers at that point.
Power Rangers. I think like something in between, where it's like they see that there's a bright light, but maybe they don't see an energy beam, but they see this guy gets really bright, because like they know he shot the Kamehameha wave, and they can see the Kamehameha wave, but it's obviously, maybe it's not as thin, but it's giant. So maybe it's like, oh, there's something came out of that person's hand, so pyrotechnics. Now there's lights and shadows and mirrors, because like when you do smoke and mirrors, you blind people. The whole reference to smoke and mirrors is being sneaky, but like they're using smoke and mirrors to make optical illusions. But part of that is manipulating the light, so when it hits people's eyes, you're using your sleight of hand in the blind spot to swap and do something. And so I think that's why he says that, you know. And I know I'm stretching here, but it's just interesting. That's like, wait a minute. The rest of all of everything else that ever goes on with any energy blast, everybody knows where it went and who it hit. And if they don't know where it hit, they know that, like, you know, somebody else does. Like, there's always like, oh no, it got him, and then someone's like, no, it didn't. It's not over yet.
That's true. There's even different levels of perception going on.
Yeah. And people can see, and some people can't see, you know. And so I think there's a level of that. Like, it must have been at that point, Krillin and Yamcha couldn't perceive. They know they saw the Kamehameha wave. Everybody saw the Kamehameha wave, but nobody could tell whether it hit the monkey or it hit the moon. So I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. I was like, wait, how did you guys not see that?
Wow, yeah, because just looking at what would my senses have to be like today, and it's just like the flash, the bang, some combination of that would have had to be so holy crap that you would have probably looked away to not see how it resolved, and then you look back and, well, there's no more monkey. I guess he's dead.
I guess he's dead. Yeah, it's not something like, it's almost a slight blinding. And I think that's true, because it's like with the vibration, like having a spirituality and like things that go on. It's like you have people out there that say they can see auras, and if you really push them sometimes, it'll come down to either they're seeing a slight hue, like a slight pink hue or a slight blue hue over somebody. It's not like they see it like this perfect image that you see something's drawn, or they'll say it feels like this. So they can't necessarily see it, but they can feel it. And that feeling is creating a visual for them.
Oh.
And so it's like, so that's what I'm saying, like there's this level, but it's like at the same time, like, so going into like ayahuasca and like working with ayahuasqueros, they see a literal pattern in the air when they sing. And they see a literal pattern on people. Like there's a pattern in the world. The world itself has a pattern. The room has a pattern. The individual person has a separate pattern. And whether it's in harmony or not harmony, they know that the ego they sing adjusts the pattern on them. So they see that when they're on the medicine. And I've talked to someone, they say like when they're not on the medicine, if they close their eyes, those patterns are kind of what they see when they close their eyes. It's not blackness. Like a lot of us, when we close our eyes, it goes dark, and then you still see the light traces. You see whatever lights were still going on or what might be on. But if you sit in complete darkness, it goes completely black. They're saying it's never completely black for them because they're seeing it. So there's a level of perception that when they're on the medicine, they can see that with their eyes open. Their third eyes are fully open. With their eyes shut, they're still aware of that energy. And so one of them I was talking to, he goes, yeah, when I do energy work outside of medicine, I'll be looking at somebody, I'll close my eyes, and then I'll open and do the energy work. And then I'll close my eyes, I'm doing the energy work. So like he's seeing the pattern, but he has to close off. Yeah. And so I'm saying that it's like, I don't see energies, but I've seen visuals before, not on anything. Like I've done breath work or been like in a meditation or even like walking up in the mountains and been like, did I seriously just see like something over there? And like you look and you don't see it, or you look over there and you're like, is that a moose? And you're like, there can't be mooses in southern Utah. We're in the Red Rock area. There's no mooses in the Arches. And then you start walking that way, then it's gone. And so for me, I think that's like perceiving of the higher dimensions. Because they say the fourth dimension is here, or the fifth dimension is here, and you just can't perceive of it. And so Dragon Ball, the reason I'm bringing all this up, to bring this all home, the reason I'm talking about this in this way is pointing out that Dragon Ball is a third dimensional world, just like ours, that's living in the fourth dimension, just like we are. But they're just more aware of it.
Yeah.
So energy blasts are fourth dimensional. It's the same thing later on. It makes me wonder how much people can perceive of things that go on crazily around them. Like they can see the dragon when the dragon gets come and they see the dark clouds come. But, like when a normal person sees Beerus, like, did they even, and you see this when Hercule watches the battles, he can't follow the battle. Yeah. Bulma only kind of can because she's been around it so much, but she still can't fully see.
That's true. That's true. When you see people like Videl come around, she sees Gohan move and she sees him make moves. Other people are like, I didn't even see him move. And she's like, well, I saw him move because she's a martial artist and she's a good one. And she's actually trying to follow these other esoteric ones and these other hidden ones that are even better. And then eventually, as she starts seeing the other Z fighters battle against guys like Cell, she's like, holy, or not Cell, this later Boo. And those guys, she's like, holy crap, they're just completely transhuman, whatever the hell they are. Because, I mean, there's the flight thing, but then there's they can shatter a mountain with their fists. They can do things humans should not be able to do, no matter how much training you have. But they can do it, which means that she doesn't understand at first the Saiyan versus human. She just sees Gohan and thinks, you're human. How are you doing this? That means we can. And the idea that she thinks humans can do that too, Videl starts going beyond what humans should be able to do.
Or what they are capable of doing, because we know that Krillin can fly. We know that Krillin can do energy blast.
So I guess it's more Saiyan. That goes into a theory I've had for many years, is that a long time ago I thought maybe humans could always achieve all of the same things that the Saiyans could. It's just because we're backwater peaceful world full of like animal folk, 4D. Maybe it's because we have it so nice that the worst we have is, oh look, poachers on an island, or bandits over here, or rabbit gang over there. That's the worst we have it. Not Frieza Emperor Frieza evil. And so because of that, there's no direct challenge so big that the whole planet is threatened. So somebody has to rise up to a planet level threat, planet destruction level threat. No one on Earth ever had to get that big, except for Roshi, Gohan, and Ox. And it wasn't because they were like, oh, I've got to defeat Evil King Kukla. It's because they were trying to rival each other as the strongest on Earth, and they were starting to level each other up.
Yes. Well, that's what Gohan and the Ox King are doing. Roshi sees King Piccolo, watches his master die, doesn't know Kamehameha then. He's just a normal student. He is the best student of that teacher. But it's from there on that Roshi becomes the greatest martial artist after that. So again, hardship. Sees the limit, sees something more powerful than him, and then breaks that limit. It's very similar to the 4-minute mile that we have with humans. People thought it was physically impossible. Someone did it. Someone did it next year. It's now something. It's not even it's not even high school state record level anymore. It's something that, like, if you're going to be on the track team, sometimes it's a preliminary of like, can you run a 4-minute mile? You can still be on the track team if you can't, but if you can, we know that you're varsity. Like, it's kind of like it's a varsity level, high school level mandate to run a 4-minute mile, where it used to be deemed impossible. And so you see this too, that I think humans can get as strong and can do things that, again, we're not going to go Super Saiyan, but you do see this throughout the series. There are other characters that are stronger than Super Saiyan, stronger than Super Saiyan 2, that don't transform, that don't do things. And so you see this even at the end in Dragon Ball Super, where, like, clearly Tien is stronger than Super Saiyan 3. And Master Roshi can get Goku to go Super Saiyan Blue, but he has to get Goku to go Super Saiyan Blue for Goku to beat him. So he's not as strong as Super Saiyan Blue, but that's God level. So that means that Master Roshi has hit the pinnacle of human without going God. But Tien is very similar.
Just like we saw with Goku and Vegeta, fighting somebody at God level starts to close the gap, which means Roshi and Krillin both could potentially crack that God line for humanity.
Exactly. And you see this with the hybrid with Gohan, who does this a little bit too, who enters beast mode. So, like, he hits ultimate mode on his own, which is apparently supposed to be equivalent to, like, stronger than Super Saiyan 3. Like, it's stronger than Super Saiyan 3. Gohan never learned Super Saiyan 3, as far as I know. He never learned Super Saiyan 3. He went off his own path at that point. And then when he was at ultimate, he fights Goku in blue at ultimate. And at that point, they're very similar. Goku's still stronger, but he's catching up. But then Gohan goes beast mode, and that's his own thing. And that's rivals God energy. And it's also like when you see it in the Magna, when he goes beast mode, Vegeta and Goku both go, is that beast mode? It feels unlike anything else. So it doesn't feel like normal energy, and it doesn't feel like divine energy. It's its own thing.
But then they've already run into Broly, so it's not Berserker either.
But then, interesting. And then, spoil for those that haven't finished the Magna, only thing I'll say, and I'll point out for this, Goku wants Gohan to fight Broly because they're similar. And he thinks that Gohan can teach Broly how to go berserker without going berserker. Kind of how you see like
Khalifa was doing that.
And learns that. He thinks Gohan can teach him because Broly's at a much higher level.
Oh yeah.
Berserker Broly is equal to Gogeta Blue.
Maxed out. Like they broke into that pocket reality and then broke back into ours. Like with their battle. They're beyond everything. That's what I like about that, is that teases that we're starting to scratch power levels beyond what our reality was technically built around.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous.
Which is where it taps into these higher dimensional things, these higher where it's like at the Beerus is a 6th dimensional being. And now they're tapping into, they're not stronger than him yet, but they're tapping into that same vibration, And also at the same time, though, this is something you see with Frieza. Frieza watches the Broly fight. He sees, and for the first time, he gets to experience Gogeta. He doesn't even know that's possible. And then when he's like, and then you come back here again, we'll just destroy you with this. He's like, but because Frieza sees Gogeta, sees that power level, he now knows that's the ceiling he can break. Because he's learned whatever the Saiyans can reach, I can break that pinnacle. Super Saiyan Gold, Frieza Gold broke Super Saiyan, but also broke Super Saiyan 2, Super Saiyan 3, and could only be rivaled with Super Saiyan Blue. We don't know if the red, like the normal God mode, would be stronger than it or not. But even then, Super Saiyan Blue, Frieza would have won had he actually mastered Gold.
Yeah.
And so it's like, whoa, hold on.
It's a plot point that he went, I have gold, and couldn't wait to go and show them.
And kick their butt. And so it's this interesting thing that when Frieza Black shows up and we see him for a quick moment, is that trained Frieza Black or is that I just got Frieza Black?
Yeah, he's already made that mistake once. He's already shown the capacity for just
Frieza doesn't make the same mistake twice.
Show off. Yeah, that's true. Frieza's extremely intelligent, very intelligent, and it's that 20 straight years of straight wins, no one even challenging him, that develops that, what is it called, that hubris that blinds him.
It blinds him. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, does he still have it? Especially after the Broly fight, where that blew up literally in his face, and he barely got out.
But also at the same time, he got Broly to go fight them because he doesn't go to Earth anymore to kill them himself. He learned that lesson. He went there once to kill them himself, got sliced up, got stuck in their hell.
Yeah.
Came back a second time to kill them, died there again, got stuck in their hell again. And he goes, look, if I die anywhere, I'm not dying on Earth. I don't want to be in Earth's hell anymore.
Never again that.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's interesting, because when at the end of the Broly movie, we're jumping way ahead, but at the end of the Broly movie, he's hovering out there in his ship and there's the giant cosmic space war going on. He's not there. He's over here watching it, which means he's not even okay dying in deep space. Like, I think, if anything, Frieza must not have given a crap about any of that afterlife stuff, because I'm never going to die. I'm the strongest thing there is. Happens twice back to back, and now he's like, okay, I'm very careful and very aware that there's a lot of things worse than dying waiting for me.
Yeah. Well, and then he realizes too that, there's gods, because even in like, if he got the Super Dragon Balls, his goal was to wish to be stronger than the gods, or to wish the gods away. That was his goal. Like he hints at that in his wishes a couple times. And we're way ahead into Super here, which is too serious from Dragon Ball. But yeah, so just interesting of like, he's smart. So we'll have to see how things play out.
That's the thing about Dragon Ball 2 and the wishes, is it's just like with the genie wish. I think everyone has gone through that point of I wish for a new car. I wish for $1 million. And then there's the really like, let me think this wish through. And I can't remember which show it was, but I saw one show once where the guy was like, all right, one wish, right? And the genie's like, you only get one. He's like, okay, there's supposed to be 3, but fine, 1. I got it. And the genie just waits and he waits. Days go by. Are you gonna make the wish? He's like, no, I'm thinking about it. And when he finally does, he like pulls out a notebook, and he's got like a list with commas and semicolons, and he has made sure to grammatically ensure this whole thing, this laundry list, is technically one wish. And the whole time, that genie's just like, the genie knows what he did. He knows it's working. he's figured out his rules, and he's exploiting them, and there's nothing the genie can do about it as long as he's worded it right. He can't even screw him on his wish.
Yeah. It doesn't in that, I mean, I might be mixing clips. It might be a different clip I saw. Doesn't he start it wrong though? Like
it's like the beginning is yeah.
It's written out perfectly, but then before he begins to read, he says something that and the genie smiles, and then it doesn't happen. Like, in some way he goes, I would like to make this wish, or I'm going to, or something. He says it just that one little word that allows the loophole for the whole thing to fall apart. But it's like, still, he thought it out very precisely, which comes to that idea too. Like, if you think things out clearly enough, you can overthink and you can miss things, you can cut corners, which we see this a little bit, just coming back to Dragon Ball a little bit. You see this actually in the Yamcha fight. Yamcha's doing all the flashing moves. He does Wolfing Fist. And then he's overthinking a little bit, and he goes, how can I not beat this guy? Oh, I'll go do this. And he's actually thinking too much when he gets pushed out by the cold wind. Like, 'cause he's trying to figure out what to do next.
Yeah.
And so there's this energy of like, overthinking can stop you, but also at the same time, thinking through can be very well thought out, like with the wish thing. And you said,
Exactly.
you get the, I want this. And it's like, well, what do I really want? And we talk about in our other episode, like coming back to that why for life too. Like, what do you really want out of life? Like, that's the crazy thing about Dragon Ball. Like, there's these Dragon Balls, you can make some wishes, but you also watch throughout the entire series, people manifest their dreams without the Dragon Balls. And either the journey to the Dragon Balls or the journey around the Dragon Ball solves things. And we'll get more into this in like the Red Ribbon Army arc next. But like how much Goku does on the sole mission to find the 4-star Dragon Ball that was his grandpa's for memory's sake. How many world problems he solves with that goal, which are all side branches of his why. So if your why is clear enough, it can actually cause quite a great thing. And so like same like we talked about last time, like if you have your clear enough why, it's like, what do you want? Like, how do you want to accomplish it? Why is it important? Because you see all this happen, and the truth about reality is we can manifest anything. And we have the power to manifest anything. But if you're not specific about it, it won't show up the way you think it's going to show up. And I love how we talk about like in life before, like, you know, like if we do come here with a purpose and an energy, it's not you came to this life to be a rock star and a musician. It's you came to this life to express yourself, and you want to help people and make a difference by playing with music. And that happens to come out as a rock star. Could also come out as an elementary choir teacher. You know, same thing, same vibration being happened, just what makes your soul happy. So it's that idea, like when you have your why, how clear are you on it? You know, how crystal clear are you on it? And also you see this just final thing with Krillin and Goku. Krillin wanted to win the tournament. Goku just wanted to fight in the tournament. Goku, they both went to Master Roshi for the same reason, to be trained under Master Roshi. Krillin to get stronger and to outprove his past. Goku to get stronger and to be like his grandpa, his idol, his hero. You know, and then in the fight, they both want to win. And then when Roshi tells him it's all about introduction to martial arts, Goku goes, I just want to do my best and have fun. Krillin is still holding the energy of I've got to win. And you see it in the fight with Roshi. How am I going to beat this guy? I can't. And Goku's like, you've had the same training I have. I have had the same training you have. I can do this. I can win. Which, yeah, in the fight, you should try to win. You know, but yeah, so I'm going to kind of leave it with that. But like, same with like how you do your why in life. The one challenge I'll ask everyone out there that's listening, and even something I can do for my own life, is like how we do the small things in life is how we do the big things in life. So sometimes you can analyze your why behind like your life purpose, but also look at how the small things show up a little bit sometimes. Like, do you do the things you say you're going to do? You know, if you say you're going to call someone, do you call that person? If you say you're going to message someone back, do you message that person back? You know, but also like how we show up in the little aspects of why. And like an example is like chess. Like we're really like chess. It's because the way people play chess is a lot of the time the way they play in life. And I had a friend one time we played chess with, and he didn't care whether he won or lost. And the whole way he played the game was very much in the moment, reacting to what I was doing, which is how he lives his life, reacting to what happens to him. And I like this guy, and he's a great guy, but he's also over 300 pounds and doesn't really take care of himself. But he reacts to what happens. So he's only getting healthy now because now he's having health issues. You know, but it's that I don't care if I win. So like, look how you do the little things. I don't care if I win at chess. Well, do you care if you win in life? And what does winning in life look like to you? Yeah. You know, so it's like those little things like that. Like how you do the little things is how you do the big things. Yeah. And you might not think they're significant, but they show up in that way.
Absolutely.
You know?
I feel that, like, especially in my life, having the experience of martial arts, I learned in different kinds of martial arts to apply it differently. Like in karate, it was just do these exercises over and over again, eventually move to the punching bag, eventually we'll move to the bricks. And yeah, that's conditioning. Eventually it gets you there. But I felt of all my martial arts training, that was the second slowest. The third slowest was the Shaolin training, because we're studying the Shaolin bit in America, where they have different standards, what kids are allowed to do as opposed to over there. And that was a little bit slower, but it was more about conditioning you from within your body. Instead of like, can you hit this and break this? It's more like, well, can you move so fast that if you did have to break it, you wouldn't be a problem. And so there was just a different focus, everything inside your body instead of testing yourself against the outside. When I went into Hung Gar training, it was so much more extreme. It was even the defensive moves, even the blocks, even the footwork were all designed to entangle and break the opponent's bodies. If I blocked your punch, it probably broke your arm, just blocking your punch. And so it was a completely different approach to everything. And what I learned that all three had in common was the style of conditioning was about taking normal, monotonous, correct physical actions done the right way and repeat. And then eventually when you thought you had that mastered, they'd have you do it in an uncomfortable way, in a like, for example, you can do your punches with your feet in a certain method and just punch each other in the ribs for 20 times. And then there's, okay, now do it with 1 foot on this chair and 1 foot on that chair, suspended 3 feet in the air. Okay, because if you hit a certain way or take a hit a certain way, you're going to fall off and you're going to do the splits or something.
Gotcha.
And so now it's about add the whole balance thing to it while taking and delivering hits. And then just going into all these different crazy drills and all these crazy versions of sparring, I learned that, and I wrote this down, it's a trope in martial arts, it's a trope in the animes and fighting animes and games where you have repeated, meaningful, good labor can be training the mind and the body and conditioning yourself for the world with the world.
Yes.
And so, and I think that what you see this in the Karate Kid movie, wax on, wax off. And, you know, put the jacket on the coat rack. Yeah. You know, things like that. Where, and then eventually he learns, because he was literally mastering putting his jacket on the coat rack, he learned this one reversal maneuver. Yeah. That just became the center of how he was winning all these other fights, because he mastered that thing. And then the fact that his master had perceived, not only do I need to train you in that technique as the basis of the rest of your techniques, but the way to teach you that also teaches you this task just as a good habit, so you don't lose your jacket when you need it, but also in your life at home, it makes you a clean, organized boy.
Yes.
Which helps you, helps your mom, helps just the structure of your worldview as a man.
Yes.
And that is what you see Roshi do with his silly training, whether it's go get the milk, go dig the field, go do the construction for those construction guys. Every one of those tasks gets, at first it's, why would you make them do that? And why so difficult? Now do it all with a turtle shell on. Yeah. It's because, okay, we're establishing that right, good manual labor as the basis of the rest of your training and technique. So that even if, for example, they fail the martial arts route, they're at the base level a productive, good person in their society.
Exactly. They have the skills to accomplish anything. Like, yes, they have the skills to do construction and agriculture and to deliver milk. And like, yeah, they have that and they can do menial jobs and they're strong. But if they left the martial arts, which you kind of see Krillin do this, he becomes a cop later, you know, and he's one of the best officers. He's saving West City all the time and he uses his skills in the appropriate way. But it's that level of, because you have determination, you know how to push past yourself, you trust your body, and you learn how to be a good person in society, it trails on. And that's the thing, like with martial arts, and that's one of those things that, like, you know, like having weight training or other things that I think is important for kids or even as adults, like for stuff for teens. But it's like when you do anything with the body and it excites you, you begin to learn more about yourself. And so martial arts sets you up in this way of like, how does this show up in your body? Like, how does this look for yourself? It's the same reason you see a lot of people in business, like a lot of the really successful people in business also are in shape because they either did do martial arts at some point or they understand the concept of like pushing the body and moving the body allows the mental state to be clear, allows the emotional state to be clear, and allows you to feel productive, allows you to get things done. You know, I think The Rock says like he likes working out in general, but he says one of the reasons he works out at 4 a.m. is so he starts his day already accomplishing the number one thing he wanted to.
Yes.
So from there on, like taking care of his kids, working out again, going to an interview, recording a movie, anything like that, he's already accomplished. The day begins with a win, you know? And so it's like that same concept. And so along those lines, it's like, you know, give yourself a win in the morning, give yourself a, you know, and also part of that can be if you want to be healthy and you want to have a good day, then drink a big cup of water in the morning.
Yes.
Like, and I'm saying that like it sounds kind of silly, like, okay, what are you talking about, Gareth? But it's like, if you want to have a good day and you want an accomplishment that gives you a good day, you drink a big cup of water in the morning because you just want 7 to 8 hours without drinking. You're dehydrated. And if you worked out the day before or had sex the day before or worked hard in any kind of way and sweated, and then depending on how many blankets you wear when you sleep, you went into bed dehydrated. And then you probably lost about a pound of water while you sleep. And the reason I'm pointing all this out is because, like, drink a cup of water in the beginning of the day, you feel better. And the day begins with a win.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be drinking water. It can be go meditate. It could be do breath work. It could be whatever your number one thing is you want to accomplish, you do that first, and then it is an immediate win, you know? And so, like, kind of for myself, like doing some kind of gratitude meditation and some kind of sitting in silence is a win for me because it makes me mentally clear. It makes me emotionally good. I feel good about myself doing that. So that's the first thing of the day. Yes, I take the dogs out, which is also a win because I'm being responsible. But it's that idea that my morning routine is win, 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 win. It's stacked full of wins. So by the time I step into something that I may not win at, I've already won for the day. I'm already in a good mood. So I leave that with that as kind of my thing here. Is we've gone down Dragon Ball on a lot of different routes, and so with that, that's one of the reasons why I say drink more water. If you drink more water, you'll be happier and healthier. You get more sunlight, your body and the chemicals in your body, and the cells in your body are happier. And so if you do just those two things, you'll live a happier life. There's way more ways to live a happier life, but those two things can make a huge ripple effect.
It's a great place to start, yes.
Yeah. And so like with Goku, what's your why? What's your drive? Why do you want to do this? Who do you want to be? And let the ripple effect of your why play out. So yeah, with that, peace, namaste.
Love and peace.
Tales, we're searching for the Dragon Balls, follow our trails through mountains high and valleys deep. We'll make a wish that the world will keep. Wish upon the Dragon Balls, let your dreams take flight. With the power of the Wolfang Fist, we'll win this fight. Kamehameha, feel the energy rise. With courage in our hearts, we'll reach for the skies. Training every day, pushing past our limits. In the face of danger, we'll never quit. From the first step to the final test, we strive for greatness to be the best. Wish upon the Dragon Balls, let your dreams take flight. With the power of the Wolfang Fist, we'll win this fight. Kamehameha, feel the energy rise. With courage in our hearts, we'll reach for the skies. Through storms and shadows, our spirits won't break. With every challenge, there's more strength to take. The power of teamwork, the bond we create. Together we'll master our ultimate fate. Wish upon the Dragon Balls, let your dreams take flight. With the power of the Wolfang Fist, we'll win this fight. Kamehameha, feel the energy rise. With courage in our hearts, we'll reach for the skies. So let the Dragon Balls guide our way through the darkest night to the brightest day. With the fire inside and our spirits free, we'll unlock our destiny for all to see.